Can we do a sound check? Oh, hello. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living. So first off, if you're new with us today, we appreciate you being here today, and if you would like an information packet, we have some with the ushers in the back. And if you'd like a tour of our grounds, just let the board member know, or Sue or myself or Shirley here know, and we'll take you around and show you the place. But we have a wonderful community here and beautiful grounds, and we'd like to showcase it. So to start off, we're going to have Holly Day, our wonderful Holly Day, start us off with a wonderful song.
Thank you, Charlie. This is I See You. And I'm going to start off the first part by myself, and then I will ask you to join on the second part. Can you hear me? Oh, you can hear me in the monitor. I can hear me in the monitor. Now can you hear me out there? Yeah. Okay, here I am. So the first part of I See You, I'm going to sing by myself, and then I will invite you to join me on the second part. All right. When you search my eyes, you see my soul. When we share a smile, well, God's love is shown. And when I seek your light, well, I find my own. And when I search for strength in the hand that I hold, right here you can join me. Now that's me holding up heaven to you. That's me holding up heaven to you. That's me holding up heaven to you. 'Cause with all my heart, with all my heart, I see you. Yes, I see you. Now just repeat with me after this part. When I search your light, when I search your light, I find my own. I find when I feel your love, well, I know I'm home. I know I'm home. And when I search your eyes, when I search
Thank you, Holly. So I'd like to invite the children up as we sing them out to their classes today. Feel free to turn around and wave to the camera. We have lots of people online that watch us. Even if it's not today, they watch it during the week, so we'll just wave.
You are the face of God. I hold you in my heart. You are a part of me. You are the face of God. You are the face of God. I hold you in my heart. You are a part of me. You are the face of God. You are the face of God. I hold you in my heart. You are a part of me. You are the face of God.
I love how Shirley is sitting right there with them with the biggest smile. So endearing. So once again, I'm Charlie Bourne, practitioner for today. Joining me is Shirley for prayer support after service. And so we do invite you to come and see us. You know, we're trained to do this. You know, we love to do it. We love to sit with people for their good. And or if you have a condition or a situation you want to talk about, we would love to sit with you. So we're available after service. And I'd like to thank Rich Carey, he's the board member today, and then we have Joey in the sound booth. And then we also have our ushers, and then in the kitchen, we have the kitchen cookies. So remember, after service, you can go into the social hall and meet with people, just enjoy the time together, the fellowship. It's a good time to get to know somebody new as well. So we invite you to do that. And if you have a cell phone that may go off, if you can just silence it, we appreciate that during the service. So we're going to have a number of announcements today, but to start off with, I'm going to have Diana come up. And then we'll have a few more.
Good morning, everybody. I'm just happy to be here today representing the Bliss Seva team, Sacred Service team, who works hard to present fundraisers that are profitable and fun for us to participate, socials for us to participate in. And to announce today that I'll be in the foyer for all of you NOC, Nourishing Our Community bidders that won seats at the event that you bid on. I have your invoices for you out there. And I will also be out there to help you understand the auction that is set up out there. It's a goods and services auction that will go on till November 19th. And all of these services have been donated by members and friends of our community and the goods. There's a starting bid, a minimum bid on each one, and it shows you a value also on the bidding sheet. So unlike NOC, you can bid whatever you want. So if you really love the item and you think it's worth the full value that they put on that card, you can start your opening bid with that. If you want to make it fun and start a little lower, closer to the opening bid, you can do that. And this goes on until November 19th, and the person who bids, of course, the highest will receive the goods. And there's one other thing out there. There are paper bags underneath the tables that have, they're going to be for our gift basket donations. It's another thing that we do later in December. We prepare beautiful gift baskets that we will raffle off. And if you have any donations at home that might fit that theme of a gift basket, it's labeled, just drop it off, stick it in the bag, and we'll include it in the basket. So, thank you.
Thanks, Diana. You know, one thing that you may have heard about is we have our annual drive, you know, for the, where's my announcements? So it's our Imagining More Than Enough. It's our stewardship program. And so that's ongoing for the whole month. And the theme this year, like I just said, is imagine. And if you could just imagine with a pause, more than enough. And that's what this center's drive is about. And it's to support our center in 2024 and beyond. And so I'd like to introduce Susan to come up and give a testimonial or her sharing of why she gives to this center and why she's a member. But also I want to mention to you that on the back table where the balloons are, we have cards that you can fill out, and you can make your statement about what you're willing to give, you know, for this upcoming year. So it's really important. It helps us with our budget and planning. And we know that we are a shining light in this community, and we're going to prosper and grow even much, much larger. So I'll introduce Suzanne.
Thank you. Wow, Holly. I see you and all of you. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful and happy to be here with you. The weather is incredible. I got to finally get out a jacket, but next up will be my beloved hooded sweatshirts. I look so forward to that time of year. Anyway, I jotted down a few notes here. I let Sue know last time I saw her that I would keep it to 10 pages. The reason being, I say that, but there is so much that I would love to share with you because I am so grateful to be here. I'm so grateful to be a part of this community. It seems like in many ways that I've been here forever, but actually it was about 6.5 months ago that I first walked through those doors to the center, feeling somewhat scared, somewhat courageous, somewhat ready, and somewhat shy. I was cautiously optimistic about what I might experience here, but more importantly, I was drawn here by a power and source that is much greater than my own emotions, and I walked through those doors with a solid intent and an open heart, mind, and spirit, and here all of you were, and you welcomed me with love and likewise open minds, hearts, and spirits, and I'm very grateful for that. The first Sunday service I attended was in April, so early spring, and I like to liken that time of year to the image of a bear. First emerging from her cave, seeing the world coming to life again, excited about seeking and finding nourishment after a long, cold winter. About 3 years earlier, around 2020, spring 2020, I had taken shelter in a secluded cave of sorts of my own. I primarily lived a life of optimism and resilience, even in the darkest times. And on the surface, I appeared to be relatively successful, well-liked, happy, hardworking, busy in the community, and I felt as if I had my life under control. But something deeper inside me was gnawing at me, something in my peripheral vision that was telling me there's something more. And I had found myself repeating out loud, I feel like I'm dying. And I didn't even know what I meant by that at that time, but I found myself repeating out loud more and more often, I feel like I'm dying. By the time those words had made it to my lips and out of my mouth, I felt as if there was just a small flicker alive, just a small glimmer of hope that was hanging on. So, in a profound act of faith, I walked out the door that represented the image of my life at that point. I left my career. I left my 30-year relationship. I left the mountain home that I had loved so much on first sight that I said it the first time I saw the property and many times over that 30-year span of living there. This is where I'll die. In retrospect, the context of those words, that idea, has changed dramatically as I came to realize that walking out that door and walking into the unknown turned out to be an amazing spiritual journey of rebirth. As I took those first steps of self-realization, introspection, healing, I spent significant time figuratively painting my life on the cave walls, tending to my little fire, and taking a close look at what life really means, and looking for new ways to read my own inner compass. As I continued deeper and deeper into that exploration, I slowly felt my little fire becoming stronger and brighter through a profound connection to the source, the divine source of all healing and nourishment. And one day, about 3 years later, I walked through the doors of this center. That same source led me to this center where it was like a beacon calling me home. I sat right over there. I can't remember exactly which seat, but right over there. And I read this banner. When the student is ready, the teacher will come. And I knew I was in exactly the right place. From that day forward, each of you has in some way been my teacher and has had an impact on my life in profound ways. Even those of you who I haven't yet met, the collective energy of light and love that is gathered here. I feel as if as I'm witnessing and embracing my own experiences, I feel your hearts and minds and spirits also experiencing your own vulnerabilities and your own heart lessons and mind lessons. And that is an incredible and amazing life miracle to witness, join, and support on a soul level. This, I believe, is enlightened empowerment. It's the kind that defines hope for humankind. It's the kind of hope that I needed at just the right time when I peeked my head out of that little cave to find my next steps. And I walked through the doors of this center and met all of you. So I'm very grateful for the presence the loving presence that each of you has in my life. And I'm so honored to join with you in support of this center. I envision each of us individually and collectively tending our fires in whatever ways we're able. tangibly, financially, emotionally, spiritually, so that this center can continue to be a beacon of divine light and love as it has been for you, as it has been for me, and as I believe the whole world needs. So thank you.
Thank you, Suzanne. That was beautiful. So going back to I'll quickly go through some of the announcements. So we have the book club, Living Untethered, with Robin Backstrom, starts this Thursday, actually tomorrow, Monday, October 23rd, 2 to 4. And the book is in the bookstore, and there's a reading list available, so if you plan on joining the book club, I'm familiar with this book. It's a wonderful book, and I'm sure there'll be incredible discussion, and Robin is a pro at leading these book club discussions. So that's tomorrow, Monday, October 23rd, 2 to 4 p.m. here at the center. Roy has his men's group tomorrow night, 7 to 9 p.m. Reverend Lynn Fritz, who many of you are familiar with, has a class starting Tuesday, and it's going to be from 6:30 to 8:45 p.m. It's called What to Say When You Talk to Yourself. That's something for me to think about. But anyway, it's going to be a minimum of 12 students, and I think there's at least 12 or more already signed up. But join that class. Lynn's a powerful teacher, and I know that you'll have a great class discussion with that as well. Just a reminder, we have the Awareness Folding Day, which is this coming Thursday, and that'll be from 9 to 11 a.m. If you've got some time and want to sit in community and fold the newsletter, it's really quite a fun time and good community building. We're going to have our Connecting with the Hope Van again next Friday, and that's at 8:15 a.m. at the Social Services on Breslauer Lane. So we do this once a month. We join other churches on this Friday, and we bring a hot dish to feed the homeless, as well as our Shoes for Souls. We collect those throughout the month, and we give those out on that Friday morning. And on that point, we have quite a collection of shoes. And so on Thursday at 11 a.m., if you want to be here at the center and help sort the shoes out, we'd like to put them in pairs, make sure we have the size noted so that it's easy on Friday morning to just hand them out. And they always take all of them, and this is the time of year, for giving out shoes. So, and then we have Speak Your Truth. It's poetry and prose. It's the open mic night hosted by Steve Shem-Smith, and that'll be this Friday from 7 to 9 p.m. And Susan, who you've heard, has done great poetry and readings at this open mic night. But what's really cool is there's people from around the community that don't even go to this center. They show up and they start sharing, on the open mic night. So it's an opportunity to test your courage and step out of your box and share something up here from the podium. So it could be stories, songs, poetry, whatever is in your heart. And then last, I'm going to have Lori come up and do an announcement about an event come up, and then she's going to lead into today's reading, followed by the invitation of the bell, and then Shirley will be doing our prayer. Lori?
Susan, I would just like to say that as soon as you write your autobiography, I will be first in line to buy it. And thank you for joining us, and thank all of you for being here. So what I am announcing is a very fun event coming up on Saturday, October 28th, called Soup and Spirit Readings. Reverend Sue and I will be your spirit readers. And the Bliss team is going to be providing the food. There will be some yummy soups, some salads, some cookies. And it's just a fun time to get together, to hear whatever Spirit has to say. So I really hope that you will come and join us and just have a ball. Okay. So the reading that Reverend Sue chose today is the following. Every craftsman searches for what's not there to practice his craft. A builder looks for the rotten hole where the roof is carved in. A water carrier picks the empty pot. A carpenter stops at the house with no door. Workers rush toward some hint of emptiness, which they then start to fill. Dear soul, if you were not friends with the vast nothing inside, why would you be casting your net into it and waiting so patiently?
We sit in stillness this morning, releasing any tension, worries, or cares, aware of the divine presence within, and knowing that we are one with this presence of God and with each other. We take a moment to appreciate the beauty that surrounds us in this sanctuary and in our gardens. We find joy in companionship with family and friends. We reach beyond the boundaries of self to include our love and acceptance of all. So we seek and find the face of God in each person that we meet. It is with gratitude that we realize the grace of God that guides and supports us in all that we do. And so, in gratitude, we release our word in perfect faith and confidence. And together we say, and so it is.
Good morning. What a wonderful morning. You know, there's something that often the board, practitioners, and many people that say, where are the young people? Where are the young people? And I see you today, a perfect song that Holly brought us. But I see over here young people, a really young person, a little tiny baby. And over there, come bring Millie forward. This is, I remember last summer, this baby was in the mommy's tummy. And there she is. I want you all to meet Millie. Yeah, there she is. We welcome her, another face of God. And your little one is named Ryan? Ryder. Hold him up. There he is. Oh, hey, look at that little chunk. Look at these. two bright lights, two bright little souls. Thank you for bringing them here. For we elders, these babies are just... But I see a lot of young faces, and I just appreciate you coming, because what we offer here is really something for you to take home in your life and make your life better and richer. And just so grateful that you're here, and I would love for you to come up afterwards and introduce yourself so we know each other more personally. So now I'll probably do this kind of thing because they're all rocking their babies. We continue to talk this month about playing with the paradox. And the title of this one, and I don't know, it kind of threw Holly, it's called The Tyranny of the Or. And I'm thinking, I don't know, that's deep. But let me just, in other words, when we talk about paradox, this is just another way to look at how we get blocked by our thinking. We need to see things as either or, right? Black or white. So we rarely look at situations at both sides. Tendency is, and humanity is, to take a side. And that just takes me back to, way back we were programmed even in school. Who's going to be on whose team? And I have so much anxiety. Nobody's going to pick me for their team. And so you just would really rush to want to be on a team. So this division kind of starts to influence us way back in our programming. So we're blocking our understanding by standing in one view over the other. And then in no time, we've trapped ourselves, and we never really take the time, most of us, not all of us, to see a third way. So there was sort of a humorous quote that I came across about this topic, and it was from a Zen master that told me, "Do the opposite of what I tell you." So I didn't. Get it? I know I had to go, huh? Do the opposite of what I tell you, so I didn't. Very clever. So we're getting more and more comfortable. We've talked about it all month, and we realize that paradox is a natural part of our life and experience. And truth is always being revealed when we learn to embrace this instead of fight that. And we continue by looking more intentionally this week, today, on the choice of that little word or. Because we can get paralyzed if we're not looking at that in the creative process of what's going on. So I have been discovering, since we've been talking about this, the mention of paradox and so many things that I read. Suddenly it just seems to stand out, and maybe that's been your experience too. So this message today, focusing and informing us on either or, that we're not always standing open at the top, which is something that Ernest Holmes really emphasized, especially in his later years. He wrote all this philosophy in wonderful books, wonderful messages, wonderful teaching lessons to inspire us to take ownership for who we are and work on our internal knowing and connection to the divine. It's all very personal. He didn't create an atmosphere where we're all puppets on a string and doing whatever is told us to do. It's so much deeper than that. It's so much more responsibility when you walk into this philosophy and realize how all-inclusive it is of the many faith paths. So it's an inner faith and also just a strong personal faith that we engage in here. But we're not always, that was what he said, stay open at the top so that you can stay informed. Because something sometimes closes that top. We put a cap on it. And then there's some suffering there, because then we're not seeing the possibilities of solutions. So, and I find that funny, because what this whole philosophy is grouped in is called New Thought. That's what we are. We're New Thought. We're a philosophy of New Thought. Yet, we trap ourselves in old thought because we think we got it. Oh, yeah, I went to that center a few months and I got it. And then out they go, and they're walking around thinking that they've tapped off what else there is to know. The mystery continues to unfold. I just finished one of the most challenging classes because I took on Ken Wilber. I feel like I need a button that just says, way to go, girl. Because I'm thinking, I remember one person saying before I started, why would you do that book? He's so smart. Okay, I'll ride with that one. But then when I'm going into it and going, whew, whew. But we all started and we all made it through. And he turns the key on our thinking. He flips things. Because the book we did was No Boundaries, which I thought was one of his more current writings, but it's way back from the 1990s. I know that sounds really far away. But it was so wonderful to look at how many ways we create boundary just by creating words. As soon as we name something, we have put a boundary around it. So it began there, and it just kept going deeper and deeper, because for myself personally, my journey on this path is to experience and stand in oneness, to know oneness authentically, and not just be something that I think sounds really cool to say, I'm one with you, but to really mean that. So a lot that we teach here continues to take us hand in hand, heart to heart with one another as we explore who we are on this journey of life. So we know that all things get outdated, so our thinking can do that as well. And I personally recognize that by opening myself up to what I don't know, I'm pretty fascinated as I'm doing that, how much I don't know, how much I didn't know what I don't know. Oh my God, I could write a Zen book. But I realized, oh my gosh. I mean, I got scolded on that in nursing school because I have told this before, but I was so shamed by that moment. It still lives inside of me because I was taking care of a patient with a hip procedure. And it was an Austin Moore at the time. And so the teacher said, what is an Austin Moore? One of those hip things, fixes it. She goes, you don't know what you're doing? And I'm thinking, oh my God, I don't know what I'm doing. Such a revelation. So then, from then on, it's like, I better not speak about something unless I know something deeper about it. So that was a big lesson for me. So I hope you're with me here. We're constantly meeting a world of duality. We're standing in, at the beginning of this month, I talked about that, they talked about the Genusium head. I have a hard time saying that, it's tongue-tied. But remember that sculpture, that Greek sculpture that has a face on both sides? It's a head. That's Genusium thinking. So that's showing, that's a demonstration of the head looking this way or this way. And I realized that is a demonstration of what we're going to align with. But I thought, I wonder why they didn't put a face on top. To look up, to see, well, I want to look up into the true knowing of what's my guidance here, to embrace a new way of thinking. And I invite you to watch people that you really resonate with as a teacher for you, as somebody that has something important to say. Watch how often their eyes look up as they're searching what they're going to say. Is it going to be filled with the right kind of truth and love? Now, Dr. Howard Thurman, I've been looking at some of his writings, and he says, this is the strangest of all paradoxes of the human adventure. We live inside all experience, but we are permitted to bear witness only to the outside. Such is the riddle of life and the story of the passing of our days. So we want to stay awake on this journey. We take the spiritual path very seriously here. Ernest Holmes, founder of this teaching, spiritual healing is not willing, wishing, beseeching, or repeating a lot of formulas. It is the result of a dawning perception of spirit. When the illusion of opposites disappear from our mental perception, we come to realize we are whole and we shall be made whole. This is the principle of wholeness that he's reminding us is ours, is part of the divine way, this wholeness and our journey to truth. Because the moment, and I know you feel this way, feel divided, we step into the experience of polarities, and then we're struggling. We're struggling with our own soul nature. Why do I feel this way against my friend? Why do I feel this way? I want to heal this in me. And so we're trying to pull the pieces together, yet we're still also at the same time choosing a side. And here's a call for all of us. I mean, back when COVID started, this was a real wake-up call. How are we going to deal with this? And we had no tools. We had no prior experience. And so we were all just grasping, reaching, and following the advice that came our way. But on a deeper level, I invite you to consider, where do you need to be? As I speak of this, what's going on in your own life? So there is something that I really value that I think is so important to share, that one of the ministers, Reverend Chris Ashley, she stated this, and I couldn't say it any clearer than this, so I want to share her words, because this is something that you'll hear in the Science of Mind. Turn away from the condition. Now, those of you that are schooled in some of the philosophy, you've heard that, right? Don't focus. If something's before you and you're trying to heal it, don't put all this energy on the condition. It says turn away from it and focus on what you do want. Put the energy on what you do want. But listen, she turns this around. So we say turn away from the condition. We have taken this to mean we should look away from the problem and the suffering of the world. This viewpoint only means that the suffering and problems remain for those who don't have the privilege of turning away, because they are in the midst of the challenge. You see how that can really take one of us that has invested so much on turn away from the condition, turn towards it. And let us turn towards the condition and deny its power over reality. Whoa. In doing that, we do not deny the condition, but we're supporting also those that are suffering from its effects and rising above it and moving forward. In this way, we use the power of our mind not only to look away, but also to transform the aspects of our world that are not working for everyone, and truly build that world that works for all, that we so sincerely are working towards. So that sincerity and that flip of my understanding, I hope you hear it too. I trust that in some way that we can hear that, if this is all about looking at another option. So as I said, practitioners are trained to turn from a condition and towards the truth, and that still is absolute. But her turnaround is so incredibly brilliant to me, to bring peace to our hearts when we're so much in the wrestling match with the events in our world today. Do we not look at suffering because it's too much to bear and it unsettles us beyond what is our comfort zone? Or do we go to the eye of the storm? Do we go into that place where the chaos and the disruption is actually happening, and we stand at the very center with that divine power surging through us to see a new way out? Thurman, who I talked about, was one of strong allies of Dr. Martin Luther King, and his ministry itself was called Common Ground. He reminds us to ask 2 questions. Where am I going? And who will be with me? Now, he said, these are his words, if you ever get these 2 questions in the wrong order, you're in trouble, right? Who's going to go with me? And then where am I going is really is a puzzle. So these questions that we ask ourselves that lead to our understanding, and we relieve ourselves of being overcome by what is going on. So many people have shared with me over the last couple weeks the heavy-hearted experience that they're feeling, and they can't quite name it. But it is the world. It is the division of a Gaza Strip. It's the Ukrainian war. It's these wars that are going on that have us so deeply and heartfelt broken. Because where do we put our understanding and our support for our most profound healing? Here's where Michael Beckwith says, having the courage to come face to face with ourselves is the portal through which we can view the pristine features of our original face, which include the qualities of unconditional love, compassion, joy, creativity, and contentment of being. Our original face, our original heart. These beautiful babies are not here by any mistake. They are the original face. That's why we can look upon them and just open all the way through and channel the love back into their sweet souls. So our greatest wisdom then is coming from no longer choosing between paradoxes, because we recognize that systems are always falling apart. And this is how we have been using our decision making. And when we look towards freedom, it can't be an either-or answer. Though that's not sustainable anymore. And I think we're finally getting that, because these opposites that continue to scream at each other and continue to divide are hurting our own hearts and hurting all of society. Now, I went just on the side, I went to the forum on anti-Semitism last week, and there was one thing that Reverend Bob, who visited us here from the Lutheran Church one time, he shared very sincerely. A congregant had come to him, asked him, he's leaving the church because I don't understand why you, Reverend Bob, are joining that anti-Semitism forum. It has nothing to do with us. And Reverend Bob goes, it has everything to do with us. You see, everything that's going on has everything to do with us. Every place we look. That Janusian head is just spinning now, because everything is mirroring back to us what is ours to do. What is ours to do here? So look at these contradictions, no longer looking at how it hurts, but how it is actually shaping us, and that we're getting wiser as we wake up. Now, in Teaching Practitioner series right now, we've delved into these different aspects of healing and realizing that pain itself is the healer. And oftentimes I'm in pain, I don't want pain. I want to run from pain. Turn to the pain. It is your body calling out to you for the healing. And it's the emotion itself that we feel leading us to our understanding. All of this is motivating us to receive the message, what is going to be for your greater good. This growth and expansion of our consciousness, be it mental, physical, emotional, spiritual, all evolves the moment we take the time to honor these messages that are so tenderly coming from our body and our emotions. And going back to the wisdom of Science of Mind, reminding us, turn towards what is informing you, because it will never be this or that, but a beautiful new insight, a third way to look at things. That's at the personal level. And when we master that, we turn towards society and we take our heart forward in service. We stand with an open heart and a stronger mind to perceive the world with eyes of compassion and loving kindness to exude from our very soul nature. So we look at suffering that can occur from being stuck in a way of thinking that is not sustainable. So we all know, we've all seen it, what seems so black and white. Now we're just looking at shades of gray. So let's look deeper to stay listening to what's going on inside of you. There's a safe place inside of you. It's right in the very center of your being. And it will inform you when the turmoil and the chaos gets so overwhelming. I love how Susan testified to that. There's those moments we turn within. We turn within here. You come in community and you lean into one another and you find a like body of people that you value, that their intention is to stay open at the top. Naomi Remen is one of my favorite authors. She's also a doctor that I really value her wisdom. She said, life is as complex as we are. Sometimes our vulnerability is our strength. Our fear develops our courage. And our woundedness is our road to integrity. It's not an either-or world. So all this year we've talked about different aspects. Some of them were quite touchy about being vulnerable. We feel like we need to kind of shield the heart, put a bubble around us. All of these things are good in their own way. But the idea of just being willing to be a little more vulnerable and less rigid allows a new light, a new way to emerge. Just watch nature. That's how it all comes about. So here's something from Ken Wilber from the No Boundary. Have you ever wondered why life comes in opposites? Up versus down, inside versus out, high versus low, long versus short, big versus small, good versus evil, life versus death, pleasure, pain, God, Satan, freedom, bondage. Life comes to us that way, but nature, Mother Nature, in a holy way, it seems knows nothing of this world of opposites that we live. Thoreau said, nature never apologizes, and apparently it's because nature doesn't know the opposite of right and wrong, doesn't recognize what humans imagine is an error. So today, just for this week, think about ways that you can choose a third way. So if you're experiencing a major paradigm shift, remember, don't be a puppet to what you were once told, but your biases, your perceptions, what you were indoctrinated with. Step outside. It's uncomfortable, but you step outside of that and you find a new bridge to understanding, a new connection to your world. Because we stand here in the wisdom of powerful teachings, and the greatest one is simply let go. Oh, man, I had to mention that. Because we want to keep pulling it back in, but letting it go. There's nothing more healing than to stand in front of, because I've loved Paramahansa Yogananda for most of my life. There's a painting where he's just doing this. And in some of my most sorrowful moments, I can just stand in front of that picture and feel that transmission. We can do that to each other. When somebody tells you something so horrific, so hard, so painful, you hold it with them. But you just lift up your hands because you don't want to clutch it. You don't want to own it. You want to help heal it. So simply let go. So there's so much to say, and there's so much that's already been said, and you've been so respectfully listening. But this week, try to notice the moment you put something out of your heart. Somebody, someone, some thought. No one needs to know you're doing this but you. Just play with the paradoxes and try to let go of seeing it either or, but see what is expressing itself to you. And let me just very briefly reshare something from Mark Nepo, because whatever it is that's getting your attention for a reason, and what is revealed is healed. So as you discover new perspectives this week, I want you to celebrate that. Write them down because they might slip away, because you'll have a moment of aha as you're having, as Cher always does, morning coffee with God. Those ahas of looking at your journals and seeing the realization that you're aware of opposites, but you're casting your net to see an understanding through it all. So here's something that he says: in our capacity to withstand the tension of opposites is key to entering paradox, the key to get comfortable with the space of not knowing. Most of us are uncomfortable when things are undefined, when things are not clearly to and fro, up and down, left and right. But the deeper truths take time to reach us. It's our job to enter the practice of waiting openly, which involves enduring the tension of not knowing. It requires a crucial, ongoing effort not to prematurely name or define what we encounter in life. The truths that matter require us not to form opinions or beliefs hastily. On the contrary, we are being asked to allow time to surround us with the wholeness of life, back to the idea of the God quality of wholeness, to take the time required for the paradox of truth to show itself. I'm going to invite Judy up to, I like how Andy says, to put a bow on this. It's so cute when he says that. But we need a little Ram Dass here. Many of us, he was one of our teachers at one time. So as she starts to play the keys, as you close your eyes and you're perhaps making your own personal commitment to your spiritual practices this week, what you're going to choose to do, Ram Dass says, the less attached you are to your own desires, the more you can hear what other human beings need, and the less you project your own need. Your response is more compassionate and appropriate at the need at hand. That doesn't mean you don't have desires. The paradoxical question is, how can we be fully engaged in life, yet not be attached? Translating the inner work of ourselves into action is a subtle art. Blessings be to Ram Dass. So as you go into that place of uncertainty, knowing that what you meet there is truth, is the divine, is a holiness that simply is. We call it many, many names: the Tao, God, nature, Mother, Father, Allah. We name that which we take partnership with, infuse ourselves in. We feel, when we're allowing our hearts to no longer feel any separation whatsoever from this divine influence, we sit in the heart of the One. Our heart becomes the one heart. Our heart beats with the one heart, and we hear it in nature as we align ourselves with that source of wisdom. As perhaps we turn to the indigenous people who tell us how to dream and what to listen to and what's important to know. As we listen to the soul call from within each one of us, what is mine to do here? And we allow ourselves just to sit in the question and allow love to fill in the quiet spaces. We allow loving kindness to flow through all expression. So I give thanks. I give thanks for the little babies here today. Their precious little souls already know this. They remind us by just simply looking in their faces that God's got this. And as we align with that, we are forever restored to our true nature. So I release this prayer knowing that I walk in the company of incredible people, incredible ambassadors of peace. And I recognize a powerful healing unfolding on our planet, and I keep walking towards that truth. And I allow my heart to feel it. So I release these words today, knowing that as we pray here today and as we hold up our hands out into the world, we recognize that we are sending this love, this blessing to every heart. So thank you, God, for this moment in time. And so it is. Thank you. And thank you. Thank you, Judy. And Miss Holly.
Here's the precious gifts I've found in my heart's travels. I watch all the seams of my whole life unravel. But I notice now that I've been given everything I was looking for. As my weaknesses drew in the weak, and my lack brought emptiness, and my broken heart brought sorrow forth. 'Cause we draw it in. We're artists of this life, we draw it in. As poets make creation rhyme, we draw it in. The sculptor shapes time till fears are left behind. We draw it in like painters of emotion taking flight, writing out truth become our work of artistry, and our shadows gently bend toward the light until we're free. Well, that's how my shadows work for me. Conscious of magnetic force, I can trust my compass now to direct my course. It's higher law, not wrong, not right, just all my shadows bending toward the light. There are no mistakes in my world of truth, just a deepening of spirit now, a much broader view, where pain and blame no longer seem to fit my energy, as my heart creates this space for you and for me. 'Cause we draw it in, like artists of this life, we draw it in. As poets make creation rhyme, we draw it in. The sculptor shapes time till fears are left behind. We draw it in, like painters of emotion taking flight, writing out the wrong until we see our truth become our work of artistry, and our shadows gently bend toward the light until we're free. That's how my shadows work for me.
Thank you, Holly. And thank you, Sue. I personally thought it was a great talk. But I want to invite the ushers up and prepare for the offertory as the ushers come up. And so think of these words as we do the offertory. As I prepare to give my offering, my heart is filled with love and appreciation, since what is offered here is for my spiritual well-being. I am filled with gratitude knowing my life stays in balance, for as I give, I do receive. So usually before the blessing, after the offering, I'm kind of thinking and feeling, well, what is it that I'm going to say? And it's always, we are so blessed. It follows with the song. And there's really not much more to say, but we are so blessed. Blessed for your offering, your gift of your financial good and your time to allow this center to grow and prosper and to continue on and to have a legacy for this place. So we are blessed. We are so grateful. And so it is. So I'm going to invite Cher up. Cher's going to give a little update on our Minister Search Committee. And then after that, we'll go into a song by Holly. And then Reverend Sue will come up for a closing.
That was a beautiful talk, Sue. It hit me in my heart, mind, and soul. Thank you so much. Sue will be retiring. That is the intention. So as a community, we have reinvigorated our community prayer for the search for the new and perfect right minister. We call it an RPM, sort of like a revolution. It's a frequency. We're sending a frequency out there as a community for our R, right, P, perfect, M, minister, okay? There is only one spirit, one heart, one mind. This universal spirit is infinitely intelligent, infinitely loving, and always accessible. It is indwelling in each one of us and expresses itself as a positive force, attracting to our center the right and perfect minister and spiritual leader. We know together as a community that our center always moves in the light and welcomes with enthusiasm a new leader. Our new minister brings wisdom, newness, love, charisma, joy with them, as well as deep spiritual principles to share. It is with excitement and love that we extend this invitation, embracing the reality of a new minister and the reality and knowing of perfect change and growth. Divine Mind is at the center of this, orchestrating a perfect transition to serve the needs of our growing community. It is with deep gratitude and clear intention that we release this prayer and knowing that the right and perfect minister is awake, ready, and receptive to this invitation to serve. Our hearts are filled with grace and thanksgiving as we know that these words matter and that they are released to the divine with absolute assured results. And if you would say with me, and so it is. I feel the vibration.
And we printed this out. It's in the back, so you can pick it up, and it's on our website, so you can have it with you all the time. Thank you, Cher. So Holly, and then following Holly will be Sue.
Is this the closing song? Okay. If everybody would like to stand up, I'm singing God's Design. This is a song I wrote quite a while ago now. I think you might even know it. These eyes of mine long to behold you, present in your light divine. These eyes of mine long to behold another of God's designs. These arms of mine long to embrace you and rock your troubles away. shine. This heart of mine longs to adore another of God's designs. This voice of mine longs to give you the harmony within my soul. This song of mine I sing for you is another of God's design. I am, you are, we are another of God's designs. I am, you are, we are another of God's designs. Let me hear that. Another of God's designs.
I always like it when she has you stand, because then I got an ovation. Do you see that? What a great girl. Yay. I invite you to enjoy browsing those beautiful offerings from the community back to you, and enjoy the social hall. Get to know one another, ask the right questions, and open your heart to one another, and have the most fabulous week. And again, I'm just seeing these bright faces, and I know you're all looking like, she's talking to me, I feel old. Because I remember when I was in my 20s, 30s, and 40s, I'm getting old. Oh, now I'm getting old. So I see you, and we see you. So thank you for being here, all of you. Have a blessed week.